Hey guys, David Risley here with PCMech.com, and today I'm just kind of making a little commentary. Now, I'm in the position, I use Mac. I do not use a PC. I've switched from PC to the Mac back around 2007. Basically, what scared me off of the PC at the time was Windows Vista. And obviously, Windows 7 is a hell of a lot better. But that being said, once you go Mac, you don't go back. I have no intention of ever switching back. So now that puts me into a position where I bought the Mac back then in 2007. We're sitting here now in 2011, and my Mac Pro is showing its age. I'm using a first generation Mac Pro. That's the comma one first generation. Even though I bought it in '07, it's actually a 2006 model computer. It's got the Xeons. It's a dual processor, dual core Xeons. It came with only 1 gig of RAM, which is quite pathetic. It's now running 9, and it's a great machine. It's an absolute workhorse, best computer bar none that I've ever owned, and it's just going like it's a real workhorse. That being said, it's starting to show its age in that it's a little bit slow now. When I'm encoding videos, I find that I'm having to wait longer than I'd like to wait. And quite frankly, the computers that are being built now are smoking my Mac Pro. Even though the Mac Pro is technically the best computer Apple makes, it's my particular Mac Pro is by far being surpassed by even the low-end Apple hardware these days, and even the low-end PCs. So I'm faced with a decision of what to get next. I could not go take a downgrade. It needs to be an upgrade from what I have, obviously, and that brings me to well, here's what I always assumed it would be a Mac Pro. Now, if we look at the Mac Pro, let's go over to the screen here. You can see what I'm seeing, and you guys may have looked at this before. We got the quad core here. Now, this is a heck of a lot better quad than what I'm running right now. It comes with 3 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte, and it starts at 2,500 smackers. Now, I paid $2,500 for the computer that I'm recording this on right now, and it's a great computer. It's built like a brick shithouse, so to speak. I mean, it's indestructible. It's a real enterprise level computer. But I mean, I don't know. Even though I know this is a better processor, it just doesn't feel like enough of an upgrade to me. It doesn't feel like enough of a big deal. And when I've looked at some of the i7s out there, this just doesn't seem like it would be worth my time. Now, the 8 core certainly would be. However, look, it starts at $3,500. That's expensive as heck. And if you look at the 12 core, it starts at $5,000. You start adding any memory and stuff to this, and you're going to see that this thing shoots up real fast. But here's what I'm looking at. The iMac. The iMac is one that I've always written off because, as a longtime PC builder, I am not a big fan of all-in-ones because obviously they're not upgradable. So you kind of have to change your entire outlook of a computer, which I kind of have. I use my computer for work, so therefore I don't. It's not a hobby to me. I use it, and quite frankly, when it's time to upgrade it, I simply upgrade it. But let's look at this. We're looking at the 27-inch 3.1. This has got the i5 on it. If I select that, because the i5, even though it's a fantastic processor, I'd want to go for the 3.4 i7. Let's say we want to give it 8 gigs. Now, I'm even considering getting the 1 terabyte with a 256 SSD on there. SSD is, all accounts it is significantly faster than a standard mechanical hard drive. So I know that this is going to be a screaming machine. And I obviously have the 1 terabyte in there. I mean, one thing you want to take into account, and it would lend itself to even getting the 2 terabyte, would be that it's not really upgradable. I mean, in order to upgrade the hard drive in an iMac, you pretty much have to take the whole thing apart, including taking the screen off. So you might want to just say, well, in that case, just go ahead and get as big as you possibly can, because obviously if the hard drive ever crashes, you're in for a huge mechanical job one way or the other. So it's really, between 2T or 1T, it doesn't really matter. Obviously, there's tons of external storage options out there, so it's not like this is a big limiter. And we've got the graphics, which I think the 1 gigabyte would be fine, but $100 you can get the extra gig of RAM there. But let's look at what we got here. With the SSD, with the 8 gig of RAM, we're looking at $29.99, which is less than this by $500. Obviously, the 8 core it's an 8 core, but I mean we're talking about the i7 here. The way that it runs internally, it basically duplicates 8 cores. It's not an actual 8 core, obviously. So this is going to outperform it. But I've got SSD in there and a bunch more memory. I could even add 16 in here, and we're up to 3399. So basically, what it's coming down to, long story short, is that the iMac is no longer the little hobbyist computer that I thought it was when I first was considering upgrading my Mac. It's now a full bore major performance computer, and much to what contrary to what a lot of PC guys say, it's not running laptop hardware. It's not. It's running a desktop version of the processor. It's got a full 7200 RPM drive, not an old 5400 RPM. This is a desktop. This is not a laptop with a bigger screen like a lot of PC guys would like to rip on it before. This is a serious performer, and with that SSD, it's going to be faster than probably even the 8-core Mac Pro. Obviously, it's not going to be faster than an 8-core Mac Pro when it comes to processes that utilize all cores. Like if you were re-encoding something with Handbrake, it's obviously going to outperform an iMac. That goes without saying. But in most cases, I think we're going to find that this iMac with the SSD and the top-of-the-line processor is probably going to be faster than this, because I don't care how much hardware or how much processor you throw at it, a mechanical hard drive is going to be a bottleneck. It's just the nature of the beast. So anyway, that's what I'm looking at. If you guys have any opinions on it, I'd love to hear them. I'm going to be making an upgrade in the not too distant future here. What really spurred this whole thing for me was that I went to get a copy of Final Cut X, which is the new version of Final Cut Pro that came out, and it will not run on my Mac Pro because I have an old incompatible video card. Yes, there is a video card that I could throw into this thing in order to get it to work, but to me, after using this same computer for over 4 years and realizing it's actually a 5-year-old computer, it's just a sign that my computer is starting to show its age and it might be time for an upgrade. So anyway, that's my thoughts on it. If you guys have any opinions, I'd love to hear them in the comments. Talk to you soon.